Hey guys, today I want to talk to you a little bit about the website Prydwen, especially when it comes to their Reverse1999 section, mainly their tier list. Just because I see a whole bunch of people, they go around and they take this one here as face value and as the definite truth. Everyone who disagrees with this tier list, whatever is listed here, is wrong, And I wanna show you and tell you and give you examples as to why this is a completely nonsensical take, I don't say this tier list here is complete garbage, because there is some truth to be found here. But there's also very misinformation and really dumb shit. I have to really phrase it like that. There's really some dumb shit to be found here. So no one should take this tier list here at face value at all, If everyone who would do that would be wrong and would be hit with misinformation and will judge characters and even roles wrong. Now, of course, they even tell you this right here at the beginning, right? When you go in here, literally it is part of their first sentence to take the ratings listed here with a grain of salt. Unfortunately, this seems to be a part that no one reads, right? The players, they go on here, they take a look at this tier list, and what they see, they take this as the truth, and everyone who disagrees is wrong. Okay, now let's go over some parts here, and let me show you why this is bullshit. The first thing I want to talk about is, what I already mentioned, their beliefs as to how they define the roles in this game is that's already false. And honestly, by the way they phrase some things here, you can already tell they are aware of their misunderstanding, at least to a certain degree, and therefore they want to save themselves by stretching the definition of what a role actually is. Let me give you an example. A very good example is how they phrase what a support is. So in their mind, a support is a character who you bring to the team for the utility or support aspects, be it buffs, debuffs, control, and so on. Already, you can already see. Stretching it with ends by ending this sentence with and so on. That's already stretching it. But I can give you a deeper example, because they do not define and they are not clear as to what a support is. If you phrase it like this and you say a character who you can bring for utility or support, be it buffs, right? A buff can be many different things. It can be a shield, it can be a heal, it can be a damage increase, it can be a damage decrease. There is a whole bunch of variety when it comes to buff, what a buff could be. But with their definition here, they make it very easy on themselves, and that's what I mean when I say they stretch the definition, because now when you read this, then now they are able to put any character in this game into the support category, into the support role, as long as this character simply has access to a buff incantation, no matter what this buff incantation might actually do, So this is already bullcrap. It becomes even more clear with the next example when we talk about what they call the survival role. Okay, already calling it survival is already obviously a stretch. This category is healer, not survival. Again, they are making it easy on themselves, and as long as a character, as they say here, has a tool who helps to keep the team alive can now be put into this survival category. Again, why is this like stretching it as far as it could possibly be? Because now everything, you know, by definition, everything is a tool that helps to keep the team alive. Let me give you an example. If you use a buff, for example, right? If you use a buff that would increase the attack, or yeah, let me say the damage that a character deals by a certain amount. Now, this could be taken as a tool who helps to keep the team alive, because you are now deal more damage, you kill the enemies faster, and therefore they have less room and time to deal damage back to you, and therefore the buff that increases your damage is a tool to help to keep your team alive. See how you can already understand how this is complete nonsensical garbage. But let me take this a step further. Here, survival, yeah, is healers, tanks, and yeah, the tools to, okay, alright, you get it. Healers and tanks. That's the important part. Now, let's actually take a look at their tier list. And you will see they put Kakania into the support role. Let me go back. Healers and tanks. And the ones with tools who help to keep your team alive. Why is Kakania, what, like you should already know, but let's go in here. What does Kakania actually do? She's all about the mechanic called empathy. That leads to her that whenever one of your allies, one of your teammates is attacked, Kakania takes 50% of the damage that that ally would take now for him. So Kakania takes 50% damage off of your allies. That is the definition of a tank. Now, she has a buff incantation. See that you get it. She has a buff incantation. And with their stretch of their definitions of what a role is, she can now be put into the support category, you know? That's how easy it is. But you see, this is a buff incantation. Of course, like, yeah, it can be used to cast this on an ally to increase his attack. Yeah, remember what I said earlier. This can, you know, yeah, I said everything. You remember it. So she heals and she tanks. Why would you ever play her in your team? Because she takes damage away from your allies. That's tanking. Then she heals herself. That's healing. Those are the reasons why you play Kakania. That is 90% of her entire kit. But no, they put her into the support category because they focus on like the 5 to 10% of her kit that increases an ally's attack by 300, you know? And that's why she is not in the survival category, where she should be, but she's in the support category. That is just one example of how they put characters into like completely wrong roles. Even again, the definition of what the role actually should be is very, very flawed and very, very stretched. And yeah, they make it easy on themselves and they go wrong. They misunderstand what the roles that the characters belong to are. Now, let me give you an example of how they rank characters wrong. And what better example to give you here than the actual S+ tier, right? And this is Kiparina. Now, why is Kiparina in the wrong tier? Because if you, as you say, take into consideration the versatility of a character, Kiparina cannot be in the same rank, in the same tier as Fatutu is. Fatutu is everything. Fatutu has debuffs. He is the best healer in the game by far. She debuffs, she heals, she cleanses debuffs. She's the package. She's the best healer in the game by far for every single team out there. Be it Blood Ember, be it Dynamo, be it whatever, right? The follow-up team, whatever you name it, Fatutu is the best healer in the game by far. She does way more even than just heal. Now, she belongs into every single team as well. So, what does Kiparina do? Kiparina, first of all, loses like 80 to 90% of her entire kit if you don't play her in the impromptu team. Yeah, great, very versatile. All she does if you play her outside of impromptu, here you can see this, impromptu, and everything here is based around impromptu, inspiration to impromptu, you know, everything, inspiration, everything is based around impromptu. All she does if you don't play her in the impromptu team is she provides shields to your team. Excuse me, not heals. She shields your team. That's all she does. And yeah, of course, you could argue, oh, she actually increases the critical hit rate and the critical damage dealt for your team as well. That is very, very minimal though. That is not what she's all about. Outside of impromptu, all Kiparina does is provide shields. That is not versatility. That is very, very weak. And if you only belong to one team and you are in the same category as another character that is by far the best healer in the game and belongs into every single team out there, then it is very, very obvious why these two characters should never be in the same tier. Okay, cool. But yeah, things go further. Here, let me give you another example. Baccarola, GU, with her Euphoria update that she will just receive in version 2.7. That is the main DPS, but those are the main DPSs here, all three of them, Willow, GU and Baccarola. Baccarola is the main DPS of the third best team in the entire game with impromptu. GU is the top 4, top 5 main DPS for the follow-up team. You know, the follow-up team is like rank 4, rank 5 when it comes to what are the best teams in the game. And GU is the main DPS for exactly that team. Willow, poison team, like also like rank 5, rank 6 when it comes to what team she belongs to. That's the poison team. The poison team is very, very good, very, very viable. All three of these characters here deal a whole lot of more damage than Winsong would ever do. All three of these characters have their place on top of the meta. Winsong is completely outclassed garbage, doesn't belong anywhere, is barely even playable, you know? And still, they put Winsong into the same tier as top tier main DPS characters for high meta teams, you know? That is completely ridiculous. That is even more absurd than I mean, yeah, this is also extremely absurd, but this is even more crazy here with Winsong, honestly. Like, that is, they must be completely out of their mind ranking Winsong together with GU in the same tier. Yikes. Alright, so now we talked about the flaws with the roles. We talked about them ranking characters wrong and them putting characters into the wrong roles. So now let's look at a combination of all of those things here with Jessica. Now, Jessica in the A+ tier is completely nonsense. Why? Because she has the best in slot in the poison team. Again, the poison team is still, even with version 2.8 and beyond, one of the best teams. Top 6, top 5, top 7, you know, it's up there. Jay is barely even ever playable. Like, who plays J? When do you ever use J? Completely outclassed. And yeah, also, like, the same goes for Isolde, by the way, obviously. And also, Jessica is not a sub-carry. Tuesday is the sub-carry for the poison team. And Jessica has no versatility. You cannot play Jessica anywhere other than the poison team. That is very, very important to note here as well. So, again, Jessica is not the sub DPS for her team. That is Tuesday. Jessica is the support for the team. It is Willow as the main DPS. You have Tuesday as the sub DPS. Then comes Sotheby as the healer, and Jessica is the support, not the sub DPS. And again, like, A+ is completely unfair. You can never put a character that has a best in slot and such a good team as the poison team is with Jay and Isolde. That is, like, you know, I mean, obviously complete dog water, if I'm being honest. Another example here is Ezra. Ezra in the A+, bro, she is the best in slot for the number 2 and the number 1, for the 2 best teams in the game. Ezra is the best in slot for both of these, and he's A+. Yeah, sure, buddy. You know, in the same category as Via, a character that just this is a tier list here, by the way, based on version 2.8. Ezra just received her two different Euphoria updates in version 2.7, and they put her into the same tier with a completely outclassed, forgotten, very, very specific, no versatility having character like Via. Via is very, very specific. You have to play her together with characters that deal mental damage, and every single main DPS in this game deals reality damage. You know, Via never has a place. Where would you ever play Via? It is pretty much almost impossible to play Via anywhere. And then you put in the same tier with such a beast like Ezra, dude. That is hilarious. That even makes me laugh a little bit, you know. That is hilarious, dude. Like, yo. And yeah, that's about it for the tier list. I gave you examples now for everything, multiple examples. So let's go to the category and look at the team's database here. S+ team, the impromptu team. Okay, yeah, they got this right. You could argue with Regulus and Voyager, but yeah, I mean, that is like very, very slim. That would be cherry picking here, so that is cool. This one right here, yes, this is an S+ team, definitely, but this is not how you want to play the Blood Ember team. The Blood Ember team is Nautica, Semmelweis, Eternity, and yeah, Ezra. Or if you would like to free Ezra and play her in Dynamo, then you could use Medicine Pocket. You don't play this team with Flutterpage and Fatuto. And yeah, again, this is another very, very good example as to how they stretch their definition of things, because they make it very, very easy on themselves. Like Flutterpage and Fatuto, you can always take these two and you can put them into every single team. No matter, all you have to do is you take a main DPS, you take a sub DPS. No matter what main DPS or what sub DPS, you know, you gain the main DPS and you put the partner in crime there. That's all you have to do, and then you can step in Flutterpage and Fatuto, and it will always work, and it will always be a very, very, very good team. So they make it easy on themselves. They don't think, they don't know much, and that's why they come up with these kind of things. But again, such as with the tier list, like, not everything here is garbage, you know, because if you look at the impromptu team, yeah, okay, at least they nailed this one. Then Dynamo. Yeah, this is correct. Mercuria is alright, not a bad choice, but the best in slot here is Muldir. Muldir is better, because Muldir provides ultimate might to your team like no one else would. And Lucy's incantations, they profit from ultimate might, and yeah, Lucy deals her damage with her incantations, not with her ultimate, so that is very, very important. Incantations profit from ultimate might, and therefore Muldir is better. Also, the sub DPS Ulrich is pretty much all about using his ultimate to deal damage, and yeah, if you provide ultimate might to your team through Muldir, they gonna profit way more from this than they would profit from crit that Mercuria provides. But again, like, Mercuria is not a bad choice. And yeah, you see here, this is where it gets hilarious, because also playing low para is, in the regular letter team, that is like so crazy hardcore outcast. You cannot call this team S+. And again, like, why do you put Fatutu twice into 2 teams? Like, you know, you can only use Fatutu once. Here again, Fatutu. Well, you see, Fatutu is everywhere. Like, that's what I mean. You can, they make it easy on themselves. You can slap, as I said, Fatutu into every single team, and she's going to be the best healer there, no matter what, you know? And they do exactly this here. Fatutu is everywhere. Like, these guys are really, like, wow, so lazy and so not using their brain. Look at this poison team here. This is not the best poison team. Jessica replaces Kakania. Like, we know this for ages by now, and they still get this wrong. I mean, yikes. They say an S tier team is just using 3 characters. Again, remember what I just told you? You use Fatutu and Flutterpage together and the team is already gonna be good. And then they put Kakania. I mean, I don't think I need to speak further, you know? Like, you see what these clowns are doing here. A+, Semmelweis without Nautica, dude. You use Pickles with GU, not with Semmelweis anymore. Semmelweis is a sub DPS now, not a main DPS. Don't play Pickles with her. I'm done, guys. Like, I think I said enough, and yeah, looking at this nonsense here is, I don't want to see it anymore. I want to go look at something else, okay? So yeah, still, this website here is a good blueprint for players that are just starting out. They don't know anything. They don't want to do a whole bunch of research. So yeah, they use this, okay? It's a decent point. It's okay to start with this tier list and then expand your knowledge and create a better tier list, because, as they say themselves, take these ratings listed here with a grain of salt. Many people fail to do this, so yeah, I wanted to put out a video talking about all of this stuff, explaining you things and giving you examples as to why this exactly is. I hope this video was fun and informative. If you like Reverse1999 content in general, please consider leaving a follow on my channel. I would really appreciate that. But until next time, take care of yourselves, have a great day, and we love this game.